That's a fake one, Mary.
Not a real egg. Is it egg?
We're up to our ears in eggs again, which is a good problem to have. So I'm going to start sharing some of my favorite ways to use them up when we have more than we need, starting with this recipe for pickled eggs with beets. The first step is to trim your beets and then boil them in water for 20 to 30 minutes until they're fork tender. From there, you'll remove the beets to a plate to cool and reserve the liquid. Notice my liquid is a brown color? That's because I forgot to add vinegar. So add a splash of vinegar and wait a few minutes and it'll turn a nice deep beet color. After the beets have cooled, you can peel them easily. I use a knife to get the tough spots and just pull the skin off with my fingers. You can leave them whole or quarter them up like I have here. Then just take your hard-boiled eggs, I had about 18 for 2 quarts worth, and then just gently pack them into your jars with the beets until your jars are full. You could use a half-gallon jar for this too, but I couldn't find any of mine, so that's why I went with 2-quart jars instead. Take 2 cups of your reserve liquid and pour it in your pot with 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of sugar, and a big pinch of salt. You can add seasonings too if you'd like, but I prefer to keep it simple. Place the mixture on a burner for 3 to 5 minutes or until the sugar has dissolved, and then pour it over the eggs and beets in your jar. Screw on your lids and then keep it in your fridge for up to a month. In just a few hours, your eggs will begin to change color. This is just after 3 hours in the fridge. The beets have already begun to pickle and the egg whites are turning a nice pink. If you check back in a few days, the pink will penetrate deeper into the whites until they are fully pink, which makes this a really beautiful treat, especially this time of year. So I just finished re-knitting the neckline on this sweater from my daughter. My first try was a little too snug. We could get it over her head, but not very comfortably. So I ripped back and went up a needle size, and now it fits much better. I still need to weave in all the ends, sew and block it. My daughter tried it on. It's nice and roomy. The arms are super long, and she has to cup them for now, but the length is really nice and should last a long time. Okay, so I got all the ends woven in and snipped off, and I got the holes in the underarms closed up. Now I'm going to let it soak a while in water and lay it flat to dry. So I've read it takes wool about an hour to fully absorb water, so I'm going to let it sit in there for an hour. And then I'm gonna gently wring it out and then lay it flat on my table. And then we'll start it drying and then it will be good to go. After a few days, her sweater was finished drying and we decided to take it outside for a test run. It's the perfect thing to wear this time of year in the Pacific Northwest when it's still a bit chilly but too warm for a coat. Still, it rains a lot here in spring, so I like to put my kids in waterproof coveralls with a sweater, and it works out well for us. We like to go outside every day, rain or shine.
Run back into the ground because Hey, can I try? Can I try? Yes.
Yeah.
A rock, I'm gonna go get a rock. Nice.
Right now, it's birthday season for our kids. Their birthdays are less than 2 weeks apart. It's also the beginning of the growing season. One of my goals this year was to get to know the edible and medicinal plants growing right outside my door, and to actually use them. Well, this week the purple dead nettle is putting on a good show, so I had to harvest some. The tops and leaves of purple dead nettle are nutritious and medicinal and can be used as a natural dye. I'm going to dehydrate a bunch of it for now and most likely use it as a tea, though I may harvest some more later to use fresh in a spring green pesto. I also noticed the leeks I planted last summer are getting huge, so the girls and I went out and harvested some of those too. So I just finished getting all the leeks out of this bed. Now I'm gonna hose off the roots and bring them in the house. And I'm gonna get some dehydrating and some freezing. Okay, can you put it in the bucket? We are getting more serious with gardening and preserving our food this year, so the plan is to set up more garden beds around the house as we get materials. It's been a little tricky trying to figure out where exactly to place our garden beds because we have so many projects in mind that we're going to work on this summer, and those projects will likely change the layout of our yard a bit, but I think we do still have a lot of usable space. So here's some of my handspun that I've been wanting to knit with, but before I knit with it, I want to naturally dye it. It's been a while since I've done any natural dyeing, and I just so happen to have a bag of onion skins I've been saving. So I think this might be a good way for me to dip my toe back in, as it were. So I'm gonna get this dye bath going and then dye my wool, and then after that I may even use the exhaust bath to dye some Easter eggs because that's coming right up. If I do, I'll try to get a quick video up to share those results, and I will also share the results of my handspun in our next vlog.
Sorry. Our way.
Oh, that's okay.
Good for
Okay.